Hey, it's so nice to get to meet everybody and get to talk. My name's John Eccles. I'm running to be your next Attorney General. I'm going to try to stay so I can get some questions, because people have questions for the Attorney General, and we do that. But I'd love the opportunity to tell you all a little bit about myself, my life, my background, and why I want to be your next Attorney General. I'm a fifth generation Oklahoman, but that is actually not the best thing about me. And I always actually start my speeches the same way. Other than my salvation, the very best thing about me is sitting over there, and it's my wife, Kristen Eccles, my childhood sweetheart. We started dating when I was 15, she was 14. I get invited to places, so they'll put up with me, so I'll bring Kristen. We got married when I was a junior and she was a sophomore in undergrad. After that, went to law school. We had our first child in law school. By the way, I don't recommend that. We did. It was a fun time in our life. We never argued about money, because we didn't have any money to argue about. Graduated law school, graduated #1 in my class, and went to work for a big firm in downtown Oklahoma City called Crowe and Nummo. It took me about 4 weeks at Crowe to realize that is not where I wanted to spend the rest of my life. But at that point, we had our second child. And I don't know about your kids, but my kids like to eat. So we had to figure out what we were going to do. So while I'm working at Crowe, my wife and I together, with our own money and our own risk, built a medical staffing company at night. It was called Sooner Medical Staffing. We talked a little bit about this, about the healthcare background. It staffed nursing homes and assisted living. What does that have to do with being Attorney General? Well, after that time, a little more background. After that time, we eventually left Crowe, practiced law at Eccles & Associates. I've owned 7 different healthcare companies, 3 different construction companies, all with my own risk, all with my own money, and employing hundreds of Oklahomans. I have the legal background to be your next Attorney General. I've tried cases in the state of Oklahoma. I've tried big cases. I've tried small cases. I have a small business background to be your top regulator. We're going to talk later about the job of Attorney General. I'm actually the only one in this race that's ever started a business with their own money and knows what it's like to understand when, frankly, everybody likes talking about the end results, what happens. Where you get there is the times when we're working for 4 years where everybody's getting paid but us. And Doctor, we talk about that. That's part of it. But despite that legal background and that business background, I will tell you that is not why I think I'm the most qualified to be your next Attorney General. Again, 5th generation Oklahoman, still own a land run farm out in the Okeen area, western Oklahoma guy. But 13 years ago, we decided that it was time and I was going to run for the Oklahoma House of Representatives. I served 12 years in the Oklahoma House, 8 years as Majority Floor Leader. I was Majority Floor Leader longer than anyone in state history. So when I tell you what I want to do as the next Oklahoma Attorney General, it's coming as somebody who knows the job, is not going to pander, because they know what they can do with that position, and has seen it done well and seen it done not as well. And I'm running on a very simple platform. We are going to create a safer, freer, stronger Oklahoma. All 3 of those words mean something. When I say we're going to create a safer Oklahoma, I am unashamedly the pro-public safety candidate in the race. I've been endorsed by 51 sheriffs in the state of Oklahoma, already been endorsed by the FOP, already been endorsed by the state firefighters, the city firefighters, the rural firefighters, your Lawton firefighters. By the way, you have a really, really cool firefighter and police station that I've toured both. They've spent time with our first responders. So what does that mean for the Attorney General's office? I am going to pull out root and branch, stem and seed, the illegal Chinese-owned medical marijuana operations that are operating inside this state. And they are going to stop. And I don't just talk about it. I was the legislator that did something about it. So it's very rare that I'm in a room that somebody's done more against illegal marijuana than me. And unfortunately, Darrell Weaver has. So, but as a legislator, I passed the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority. That's the regulatory arm when I saw the Department of Health was doing a terrible job. frustrated as the illegal grows were getting out of control. We have both syndicates, those are the Chinese syndicates, and then we have the cartels inside. Then I passed the law that allowed the Oklahoma Attorney General's office to go after illegal medical marijuana. As your next Attorney General, I have the plan and the process, and I'm sure I'll get that in questions, so I don't want to do too much of time for that. The plan and the process for what we are going to do to rid these from the state of Oklahoma. I'm not afraid to stand up to the Chinese cartels. If you've seen me, I haven't been here in the Lawton TV stations, but for 8 years, I was on the CBS affiliate in Oklahoma City, calling out the cartels by name on a TV show called Your Vote Counts. I'm not afraid of them, and we're going to stop them. And I will also tell you, we don't need the feds to stop them. We have the tools, we have the processes, and we have the ability. And I'm going to work with Donnie Anderson and others, and we're going to get rid of them. But the other part of the other part of public safety, though, we have to keep in mind. How many of y'all are looking at what's going on in Minnesota right now?
Oh, yeah.
Right now. But the ICE agent was hit by a truck.
Yes.
If you want to know where I stand, I'm the one that ran the bill for 3 hours on the House floor to make illegal occupation a state law crime, not just a federal crime. Because at the time we were fighting President Joe Biden, who wouldn't send ICE down to help Oklahoma law enforcement. We had this in Oklahoma. The Capitol was just defaced 2 weeks earlier. And if you think, well, that's Minnesota, that's not Oklahoma, I'm going to take you back to the George Floyd riots. Did you know in downtown Oklahoma City, we had riots during lockdown? Apparently couldn't get COVID if you were outside rioting. But we had riots during that where they burned a black-owned business to the ground that existed for the purposes of giving clothing to those that were getting out of the incarceration system so they could go interview, and there were 0 indictments. We will be a law and order state, and I will do that. When I talk about a freer Oklahoma, it's the job of the Attorney General to protect your rights. As somebody who has already been endorsed by CPAC, and if you don't know who CPAC is, that's the largest conservative organization in the United States. Elon Musk with the chainsaw standing up, that was CPAC. And that's because of my conservative record in the House. And I'll tell this group, so you know something for coming, that's not out for publication, but by the end of this week, I'm going to have the endorsement of Jordan Sekulow with the ACLJ. Now, if you don't know who the ACLJ is, that the ACLJ is who defended President Trump during his first impeachment. That was his dad, Jay Sekulow. That is the largest conservative legal organization in the country. Jordan Sekulow personally is cutting the endorsement today as we speak because of my strong history standing up in the legislature for your constitutional rights. The senator said, I passed constitutional carry, but I also put my money where my mouth was in the private sector. How many of you all have heard of the Castro case? You probably haven't, but you'll hear more about it. Did you hear about the attempts to kick President Trump off the ballot under the argument that he violated the Insurrection Act? The liberals were doing this throughout the country. In Oklahoma, that case was called the Castro case. That happened before President Trump's team was up and running. I joined with the ACLJ as a private attorney, pro bono, meaning not paid. I don't know why attorneys use weird words. Not paid. To defend the Oklahoma Republican Party and say, federal judges, you don't get to tell us who gets to be on our ballot. We as Oklahomans get to tell us who's going to be on our ballot. So when I say I'm going to stand up to you as your next Attorney General, it's somebody who's proven it and has done it. And that's why I have so much conservative support. And then we talk about a stronger Oklahoma. I'm going to go quick, so one question. Stronger Oklahoma is talking about protecting your taxpayer dollars. The Attorney General is uniquely situated to make sure the state agencies follow the law. As a legislator, I created law, the Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency. I got a PhD in how state government wastes your money. And as your next Attorney General, one of the things I'm going to focus on is the unique position to make sure the state government is following their own rules. I'd love it if you follow us on Facebook. We know we're winning this race, we know we're up, but we're running like we're 20 points behind. We are all over the state of Oklahoma. I'm in 6 cities just this week, not counting our home city in Oklahoma City. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on X. Have your kids follow us on Instagram. I know I'm not on Instagram, but my kids tell me Facebook's for old people. That's what I'm on. And we'd love to have your vote and your support. I'd love if I got a few minutes to open up for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Eccles. We do have 5 minutes left. I'm going to ask everyone with their question. Please be brief. and be respectful of the time, so anyone that has an opportunity or has a desire to ask a question can ask it during these 5 minutes.
And I'll hang out after too.
Mr. Eccles, thank you for coming today. A topic that's on all of our minds right now in Oklahoma is the Sharia law and then the conversation going on with that. Can you talk to us how you foresee working with that hot topic issue?
Absolutely. I'm the only candidate in the race that actually sent someone to, I had committed to speak at a Republican event, I didn't ever cancel those. But I sent my staffers to what was going on in Broken Arrow. We have to stand firm against Sharia law. We just have to. That's a hard stop. And what I've said is over my dead body. As your next Attorney General, it's important that you have someone that's proven that will stand for those records. And that's what we'll do. I mean, we just absolutely will not allow it. Now, does that mean if you're a Muslim, you can peacefully practice your religion? Of course. No issue with that whatsoever. But if we're talking about people with ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, specifically talk about that. That's a terrorist organization. President Trump has called them a terrorist organization. There's no place for that. No.
4 minutes.
Do animals have rights? Because the research paper Boria Sachs, college professor, titled Understanding Nazi Animal Protections in the Holocaust. In that research paper, he states that the Nazis enacted animal rights laws in order to reduce man to the status of an animal, thereby allowing the government to treat some segments of society like animals. So I want to know, do animals have rights?
Yeah, so if you're talking about it, do animals have rights? Yes, if you're asking it that broadly. But let me answer what I think you're asking. So I'm going to answer a different question. As Attorney General, I'm going to follow the law. Now you know where I stand on your issue because you know where I voted on the legislature. You know where I voted on the bill you wanted, which was yes. So you know where I was there. But as the next Attorney General, the promise I make is I'm going to follow the laws. That's the Constitution first. That's the Constitution first. That's the laws.